The M1 Abrams is a third-generation American main battle tank designed by Chrysler Defense, now General Dynamics Land Systems. Conceived for modern armored ground warfare, and now one of the heaviest tanks in service at nearly 68 short tons, it introduced several innovative features, including a multi-fuel turbine engine, sophisticated Chobham composite armor, a computer fire control system, separate ammunition storage in a blowout compartment, and NBC protection for crew safety. Initial models of the M1 were armed with a licensed produced 105mm Royal Ordnance L7 gun, while later variants feature a licensed green metal 120mm L44. The M1 Abrams was developed from the failure of the MBT-70 project to replace the obsolescent M60 pattern. There are three main operational Abrams versions: the M1, M1A1, and M1A2, with each new iteration seeing improvements in armament, protection, and electronics. Efforts to develop an M1A3 version were first publicly disclosed in 2009. Extensive improvements have been implemented to the latest M1A2 CND, formerly designated M1A2 System Enhancement Package version 3 or SEPV3 and M1A2 SEPV4, respectively. Versions such as improved composite armor, better optics, digital systems and ammunition. The Abrams was due to be replaced by the Future Combat Systems XM1202, but due its cancellation, the US military has opted to continue maintaining and operating the M1 series for the foreseeable future, by upgrading with improved optics, armor and firepower. The M1 Abrams entered service in 1980, and currently serves as the main battle tank of the United States Army and Marine Corps. The export version is used by the armies of Egypt, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Australia, and Iraq. The Abrams was first used in combat in the Persian Gulf War, and has seen combat in both the war in Afghanistan and Iraq War under US service, while Iraqi Abrams tanks have seen action in the war against ISIL, and have seen use by Saudi Arabia during the Yemeni Civil War. The Bradley Fighting Vehicle, BFV, is a fighting vehicle platform of the United States manufactured by BAE Systems Land and Armaments, formerly United Defense. It was named after US General Loma Bradley. The Bradley is designed to transport infantry or scouts with armor protection, while providing covering fire, to suppress enemy troops and armored vehicles. The several Bradley variants include the M2 Bradley Infantry Fighting Vehicle and the M3 Bradley Cavalry Fighting Vehicle. The M2 holds a crew of 3, a commander, a gunner, and a driver, along with 6 fully equipped soldiers. The M3 mainly conducts scout missions and carries 2 scouts in addition to the regular crew of 3, with space for additional BGM-71 tow missiles. The Red River Army Depot in Texarkana, Texas, is the center of industrial technical excellence for the maintenance and repair of the Bradley system. The Assault Amphibious Vehicle, EAV, official designation EAVP-7A1, formerly known as Landing Vehicle, Tracked Personnel 7 abbreviated LVTP-7, is a fully tracked amphibious landing vehicle manufactured by US Combat Systems, previously by United Defense, a former division of FMC Corporation. The EAVP-701 is the current amphibious troop transport of the United States Marine Corps. It is used by US Marine Corps assault amphibian battalions to land the surface assault element of the landing force and their equipment in a single lift from assault shipping during amphibious operations to inland objectives and to conduct mechanized operations and related combat support in subsequent mechanized operations ashore. It is also operated by other forces. Marines call them Amtracs, a shortening of their original designation, Amphibious Tractor. In June 2018, the Marine Corps announced they had selected the BAE Systems Iveco wheeled Super EV for the Amphibious Combat Vehicle, ECV, program to supplement and ultimately replace the Assault Amphibious Vehicle. The IAV, Interim Armored Vehicle, S-Striker is a family of 8-wheeled armored fighting vehicles derived from the Canadian LAV-3. S-Striker vehicles are produced by General Dynamics Land Systems Canada for the United States Army. It has 4-wheel drive, 8x4, and can be switched to all-wheel drive, 8x8. The vehicle is named for two unrelated US soldiers who posthumously received the Medal of Honor, Private First Class Stuart S.S. Stryker, who died in World War II, and Specialist 4 Robert F.S. Stryker, who died in the Vietnam War. More than 1,000 S Stryker vehicles have been rebuilt by an Eastern Army depot and returned to operations. The US Army plans to improve its fleet of S Stryker vehicles with the introduction of improved semi-active suspension. Modifications are shaping the hull into a shallow V-shaped structure to protect against improvised explosive devices, IEDs. Also included are additional armor for the sides, redesigned hatches to minimize gaps in the armor, blast absorbent, mine-resistant seating, non-flammable tires, an upgrade to the remote weapon station that allows it to fire on the go, increased 500 ampere electrical generation, a new solid-state power distribution system and data bus, and the automotive and power plant systems improvements. To support 1/4 greater gross vehicle weight, the upgraded V-hull will be part of the new S-Strike Shield Situational Awareness Kit, which will address many of these upgrades. Allegheny Technologies TI 500mm armor steel was designated the primary armored plating for the S-Strike Shield package in 2008. The M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle, EBV, is a US military mine and explosives clearing vehicle based on the M1 Abrams chassis, equipped with a mine plow and line charges. Its first large-scale use by the US Marines was in the joint ISAF-Afghan Operation Moshtarak in southern Afghanistan during the war in Afghanistan in 2010 against the Taliban insurgency. These tracked combat vehicles were especially designed to clear pathways for troops and other vehicles through minefields, and along roadside bombs and improvised explosive devices. The 72-ton, 40-foot-long vehicles are based on the M1 Abrams with a 1,500 horsepower engine, but fitted with a .5 caliber machine gun and a front-mounted 15-foot wide plow, supported by metallic skis that glide on the dirt, and armed with nearly 7,000 pounds of explosives. The breachers are equipped with Linear Demolition Charge System, LDCS, rockets carrying C4 explosives up to 100 to 150 yards forward, detonating hidden bombs at a safe distance, so that troops and vehicles can pass through safely. In the 1990s, the US Army decided it could not afford to continue developing complicated, maintenance-heavy vehicles for this purpose. The Grizzly program was cancelled in 2001, and the prototype developed never made it to the production lines. The Marine Corps however persisted and funded its own development and testing. The main body of the final model of the ABV is built on the General Dynamics chassis that is used for the M1E1 Abrams main battle tank. Pearson Engineering of the UK provided the specially designed plow and the other mine clearing accessories. The M9 Armored Combat Earth Mover, ECE, is a highly mobile armored tracked vehicle that provides combat engineer support to frontline forces. Fielded by the United States Army, its tasks include eliminating enemy obstacles, maintenance and repair of roads and supply routes, and construction of fighting positions. The M9 performs mobility, counter-mobility, and survivability tasks in support of light or heavy forces. Tasks include the excavation and preparation and reduction of obstacles, bridging operations, battle positions, strong points, and protective emplacements for command posts, air defense, communications equipment and critical supply of logistical bunkers. Other major tasks will be route clearing and maintenance in both defensive and offensive operations. In Operation Desert Storm, the M9 Armored Combat Earth Mover performed exceptionally well in support of combat operations. The ECE proved to be a successful combination of armored vehicle and combat earth mover that was capable of keeping pace with the maneuver units while providing crew survivability. While not as efficient as the D7 Dozer in earth moving, its ability to move with maneuver forces over several hundred kilometers of desert allowed it to successfully perform a wide variety of missions such as construction of combat roads and trails, survivability positions and berms. It cannot, however, move as fast as an M1 or M2.